You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Welcome to the Grawlix podcast. Hey, I'm Randy. Who are you guys?
I'm Dustin.
And I'm Melanie.
Okay, so this obvious something's amiss. Something's going on here.
What is going on here? What is going on here?
So, hey, we got a little in-house news we're going to talk about, and then we're going to actually get to the episode at hand, which is not anything that you're expecting. This is something different. This is something special. Although if you read the episode title and description, you do know what to expect.
You know exactly what's happening, and it's not surprising at all.
No. Our intro might be a little surprising to us, even.
Yeah.
But we assume, like most of the world, you don't read, so.
Oh, snap.
Jesse, you have some stuff coming up. Like, what's going on?
Well, this is July when this episode's going to air. So on July 13th, 14th, and 15th, it's Comic-Con in Council Bluffs at the Mid-America Center. And I will be tabling with Axton. It's kind of our big show of the year. And we will have the Grawlix banner up. And so you can stop by if you're in Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Got to wave that Grawlix banner.
Yeah. And, they have Comic-Con has... they have a really cool kind of thing that I don't think I've ever seen at a convention before. And it's the podcast arcade. And it's kind of like a artist alley, but for podcasters. Like I've seen podcasters at cons before, but I've never seen them kind of get their own area. Like they have their own area at this con. And I think that's kind of interesting, unique, and new.
Mm-hmm.
I should be there.
You should, and you should record people that are fans because we need to prove it to me.
Prove that there's proof to you. We need to prove it to you that we have listeners and fans.
Yeah.
Well, we get listener mail sometimes.
Well, of course, but they're like 3 people or something.
3 people. Yeah, we have. Yeah, that's true.
I like those.
It's kind of surreal, actually. Like. I think I told you guys about last year where I was sitting down doing a podcast with Eddie from Daydream Instruction Manual, and another podcaster comes up and he's like, yeah, we're taking off, da-da-da-da-da. And it was, oh, you guys are recording right now. And he's like, and he's like, oh yeah, this is Jesse from Grawlix Podcast. He's like, you're from Grawlix Podcast? Oh! And I'm like, what? That's not what I expected.
That is awesome. Yeah,
it is.
And crazy. You want
so at least other podcasters kind of listen to us.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys listen to other podcasts then.
We try to spread it around.
What were the dates on that again, Jesse?
They are the 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Awesome.
And I think Friday usually starts a little bit later, like in the afternoon kind of thing. I think like 3 to 7 or something. And then Saturday and Sunday are all day. Or Saturday's all day, and then Sunday goes till like 4 or something. Typical con hours kind of thing. We recently, I say we, it's the royal we. Actually, I mean you, Randy, had an interview with Dustin for the EMC Podcast Network, which is fortuitous that we would be talking about that now.
Yeah, and I believe this will...
Because of our episode.
This will come up briefly, I believe, in what you're about to hear. But yeah, on the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network at electronicmediacollective.com, I recently, this last month, had recorded an interview with Dustin Smothers, who's been on the show before. Back in, I believe it was towards the beginning of 2017 was the last time Dustin was on our show. He was when we rambled on about Westworld and should have earned a check for promoting HBO that we never got. But yeah, I recorded an interview with him for the podcast network. Just mainly, pretty much all about him. Just mainly to catch up on because he's always got lots of podcast stuff going on, and also so he didn't go too far into it. But if you want to listen to it, you should check this episode out to hear about it. He's got sponsorships, and I was like, oh, cool. Or you got sponsors, whatever, thinking for his podcast. No, he got sponsors for him, like clothing sponsors.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To promote on, because he's got a decent social media following, and so he got like.
What kind of crazy stuff is this?
Right? I was like, I'd heard of stuff like that with like big celebrities and stuff, where they're paid to use a product or wear clothes. A lot of times it's clothes, and I think with Dustin it's clothes, but wear clothes in like their Instagram snaps and stuff like that.
So I should start doing tweeting and Instagrams, and then people will pay me because.
Well, you kind of got to market yourself too as a brand.
Come on.
I mean, you are a brand.
You've seen my Facebook.
You do have a specific thing, like we just need to get you following.
No, I don't know how many. I don't know that it's really that great. I don't get that much.
Facebook's hard though.
Some of my posts don't even get likes. Not many though.
I'm just like, what if people sent me shirts to wear and take pictures of myself in? And we're like, this is me taking a picture of me with the shirt and a hot dog.
Oh yeah, you know what? I don't
wear this shirt with hot dogs, kids.
You wouldn't want to take pictures.
I would be
of
the
yourself,
worst
though.
at it.
No, I wouldn't take pictures of myself.
I just want some free shirts.
You know what I do?
You would just be like, here's a picture of the shirt.
That's exactly what I would do.
Obligation fulfilled.
I'd be like, that's my closet, and there's a shirt. Bam.
I call this still life with a corporate shirt. I mean, check it out.
And by check, I mean send it in the mail.
And I will endorse it, and I will put it in my account.
Wow. Okay. That's what happens.
That's
so
what
yeah,
happens.
check out that interview. It is pretty good. It's pretty good. Catch up on all of Dustin stuff because he's got all kinds of like. What were you gonna say?
We need merchandise like T-shirts and things.
Hey, it's interesting that you say that.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. You can get a Grawlix T-shirt. You can slap a Grawlix on a T-shirt. You can slap a Grawlix on anything because we also have Grawlix stickers.
I want some.
You want to rest your head on the G logo?
Yeah.
You can. Grawlix pillow. Boom.
How did I not know these things?
Do you like Grawlix Cinematic Universe?
Sure. I've never listened to it, but I bet I would.
You can get a shirt with that logo on it too.
Okay.
And more in the future. You want a phone case with the Grawlix podcast on it?
I don't usually go for phone cases.
Yeah, me neither. That's one of the weirder things that I'm always like, phone cases? Do you have a child?
No. But I have nieces and nephews. They count, right? They're little creatures.
We have onesies for your little creatures with the little Grawlix logo on it.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, you put a little swear logo on your baby.
Yep, the little Grawlix.
Exactly.
that little Grawlix.
Yeah.
Good. I like that.
I don't think the link's up on Grawlix podcast. It will be by the time this episode goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You'll be able to go to grawlixpodcast.com and check out our merchandise or tpublic.com/user/EMC, but I don't expect you to remember that.
Mm-mm.
It's through TeePublic, and the store is set up under the Electronic Media Collective, but so far they have an EMC shirt and a bunch of Grawlix stuff.
Do we have reasonable pricing? Because I want to buy one.
Okay. The pricing it's not bad, not amazing.
Okay.
Am I selling this? It's $20 a shirt.
That's standard pretty much.
It's standard. Yeah, exactly. I prefer personally, I'm a cheapie.
Me too.
I'm a cheapo. I like a cheaper one, but there's often sales.
That's what I was going to say.
In which it goes down to like $14 a shirt, which is pretty solid sale.
Yeah.
And you can actually get up to, my big thing is like, you can actually get up to 5X. I was like, yes, that's amazing. And it's only like $3 more, which is awesome. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need a shirt that big anymore.
I don't need a shirt that big anymore, but people do. And I remember being frustrated when I did.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find any. So this episode, you're going to see, Melanie, we had to have you on at the intro because you're not on the rest of this episode.
Yeah.
The listener's going to go through Melanie withdrawals.
Oh, well.
Did Melanie watch Cobra Kai?
No. Did you want to?
Didn't?
I didn't. I barely remembered it existed. I'm sorry. No, I think Randy mentioned it to me at one point, and then I started talking about something else and completely forgot about it. And
so what do you think, as someone that hasn't seen it? Like, do you like the idea of them continuing the Karate Kid?
I didn't even like the second Karate Kid or the third one. So no, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I mean, it just got weird, and it was almost like Moffat. Like he has to just make everything bigger and grander, but then at the end, it's just kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
With the movies, I haven't seen the show. I don't know what. I don't even think he's not even in it. Is he?
Who?
Is Ralph Macchio in it?
The show?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was about like the bad guy.
The bully kid.
Yeah.
It is, but Ralph Macchio is also in it. They're both kind of the main characters.
Are they still having a rivalry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess maybe. I don't know.
And they mentioned the second and third movie, like they're referenced, but
It plays more on
Yeah.
the first one, yeah.
Yeah. Do they talk about how that guy can keep a chick to save his life?
No, they don't. I hope they go into that in the second season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Karate Kid, more like the Karate Player.
Okay, so we're going to cut over to the actual Grawlix Bytes episode. Okay. We released this because it's going to be extra long now actually but
Yeah.
the Grawlix Bytes episode without this intro that you've been listening to for probably 20 minutes easily now is like an hour and 40 minutes. Like it kind of outgrew the Bytes aspect of it.
Big time. Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and throw this up in what's normally a regular episode or what we call Grawlix Prime spot. Prime time, Grawlix Prime time.
Or I thought it was like Earth Prime, like the original.
It is like, it is like Earth Prime.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was it Grawlix Prime Time? Wasn't that a YouTube thing that we did? For
Yeah, that was like supposed to be like the TV.
We have too many ideas.
It's true. It's true. Eventually, it'll all just get consolidated or something.
We'll have a Crisis on Infinite
Grawlix.
podcast.
Crisis on Infinite Grawlix?
There we go.
I love it.
We'll just all put it all in the same thing and be like, nope, it's all just Grawlix now. Just all Grawlix. Nights, days, primes and bytes and times. It's all a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all one cinematic universe. Oh.
Maybe that's what'll happen in episode 100.
Crisis on Infinite. I can't even talk. Infinite. I need one of those infinite gauntlets.
Oh yeah. Luckily, it's not voice activated. You just snap it.
I need one of those.
So that reminds me. So what you're going to hear on this episode is mostly we're going to discuss. It'll be me, Jesse, and Dustin Smothers. We're going to discuss Cobra Kai, but we will also talk a little bit about like Infinity War and some other stuff. And I want to give a heads up because I don't think we did on the actual Bytes. Spoilers for Infinity War. I think we just kind of jump into it in the episode.
But if they listen to us, then we already spoiled Infinity War for them.
True, but I know that McMaddie.
If you come here for Cobra Kai and we spoil Infinity War, that's kind of like a dirty trick.
Oh, I see.
And like Matt Downs, I know hadn't listened to our recent episodes because he hadn't seen Infinity War yet.
Okay.
So it's a fair,
yeah.
Just a warning, fair warning.
Yeah.
And maybe Deadpool too. I don't remember if we talked much about Deadpool or not, but that seems like something that might have come
potential
up.
spoilers for that.
So one other thing, listeners, like I'm done. I don't care anymore. One other
20-minute intro. I wasn't even going to listen to this one because it's about Cobra Kai.
So what other thing is I did it. I made a very amateur move on this recording. My audio sounds real bad because my levels were way high and I was clipping, and I did a little podedit.com magic on it to kind of smooth it out a little bit, but it's still a little rough. It's listenable. I don't think it's hard to listen to. It just doesn't sound great. And I try to make these things sound at least decent most of the time. So yeah, just a heads up, my bad. I'm going to sound rough. Jesse and Dustin sound fine. And most of the time I sound fine, but sometimes I don't. So.
And Randy has an annoying attention to detail, so.
Yeah. So I just have to bring everyone else's attention to that detail. So now they can be annoyed by it too.
Yeah, it's going to be like when we have a big TV and he's like, look, if the thing we're watching is all white, there's a faint blue line at the bottom of the screen. This TV is ruined.
It is Yes.
So when you're watching Fargo, the illusion is lost.
Fargo especially, it's all white.
I know. That's the only reason I even saw the thing.
That's the damaged television. You can't have that. How about this? You can have the Mona Lisa, but I'm going to smear a little blue strip across the bottom, and you're going to tell me that's as good as it's supposed to be?
If it's faint and I only see it like once a year, yeah, I'll be fine with that. I'll have the Mona Lisa. So
Well, it won't be worth jack because it'll be jacked up.
okay. Anyway,
Wow.
I like how we just like destroyed the Mona Lisa to make a point just now.
I will destroy the Mona Lisa to make this same point.
And that's when Randy became a supervillain.
Why did he do it? To make a point to his
point.
To prove a point to his girlfriend. About what? Television quality, picture quality. Okay, on to the show. Welcome to the Grawlix podcast. This is a Grawlix Bytes, I think. See
that's what we call them.
My 2018 resolutions of confidence, it doesn't extend to Bytes. Bytes are something else, but
They are something else.
it's been a long time since we did a Grawlix Bytes. You've already heard Jesse there. I'm Randy, obviously, but that's not all. We have a guest. We have a returning guest to the show. What's going on, Dustin?
Hey, it's good to be back. Yeah, last time, well, I think I've done stuff with you guys since, but yeah, Westworld, when me and you gushed about Westworld for 60 straight minutes last year. Season 2 is awesome. I'll throw that out there, but
Randy here, obviously, and I wanted to jump in real quick, because since we recorded this episode with Dustin, and since we recorded the intro to this episode with Melanie, there's been more developments, and it's very relevant to this episode. I wanted to jump in again and add this. Dustin and myself are starting a new podcast. This is not one of my doings. This is Dustin's idea, his baby. It's going to be on his network. It's called Debugging Westworld. Yeah, you can guess what it's about. In fact, this episode goes up Monday. The first episode, I believe, is scheduled for Friday. Every episode we will watch and discuss an episode of Westworld. We're going to start right at the beginning, and hopefully by the time we work through the first 2 seasons, season 3 will be about ready to start. I just want to let you know, since this is our guest episode with Dustin, so you should definitely check it out. It'll be available at prowrestlingmothership.com. It's called Debugging Westworld, and I believe it'll also show up on electronicmediacollective.com. I can't imagine it won't. That's all. I'm super excited. I am pumped for it.
I'm really excited to talk about the show we're going to talk about today because it was really surprisingly
so Dustin
fun.
Smothers, I suppose I should give you a proper intro from the Pro Wrestling Mothership Network, No Coast Nerd, just everything. He's on everything.
I'm on everything. There's a Eminem song that starts like that about drugs. Anyway, so I will warn you guys, like it's the end, like I'm nearing the end of a vacation week, and my my silly bone is just tickled because I haven't had to work for about 6 days. So I've had no interruptions in my happy place. So this could get interesting. I might be all over the place.
Darkest season of our adventures. Here we go.
Yeah, Jesse keeps saying that.
I keep saying that because it's true.
Yeah, that leads me to believe that the conversation may kind of bounce around, go from here to there, but the main thing we're going to talk about is Jesse's recommendation, Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
it never dies.
It never dies. I hope it doesn't.
Sweep the leg, Johnny. I was just happy that you guys brought this up as a topic, and I had literally like 3 days before signed up for a free month of YouTube Red. The thing I said I would never do, ever.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't going to either.
I signed up free trial just for this. This. Jesse did it. Jesse's the one who's responsible because I am
Sorry, not sorry, guys.
Despite them producing a show like this, like I'm not keen on just the concept of YouTube Red. Get off of it, YouTube. But
should we go into that? Should we go into it?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I'm already addicted to having no commercials on my YouTube. Like, I'm scared that I'm gonna let it roll over and pay for a month.
Ad block.
Is there an ad block for that?
Dude, I went so long without YouTube ads that when I heard people complain about it, initially I was like, what are they talking about? Then I was like, oh, ad block must block those. And it does. It's pretty glorious. Of course, then I hop on my phone, or if I'm on the Chromecast, like then of course the ads still pop up. But
at least it's not like Facebook throwing ads in the middle of people's videos that you're watching.
I hate that.
If listen, if the video's 30 seconds long, maybe not an ad in the middle.
Yeah.
You would think.
What's worse is when you do a 30-second video and you get locked with a minute-long commercial.
Yeah.
That's happened to me way too many times. So that's why I'm addicted to it. I said I would never get Hulu Plus because of that. I didn't want commercials. And then I started binge watching Rick and Morty on there about a year ago. And like 3 episodes in, I was upgrading because I was tired of commercials already.
Because those are short episodes too. So to have an ad right in the middle of that is like, no, this just extended the length of the episode by like 20 to 30%.
Well, now when I'm in my car with YouTube Red, and if I want to play some music off of YouTube, say I don't have it in my, I don't pay for any music streaming services because I have way too much music already. Mm-hmm. But so say I want to go on YouTube and find something, at least now I don't have to hear about Red Lobster's all-you-can-eat shrimp
oh my God.
in between Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. now. So that's good.
Yeah. No, that is really the main thing. It's the no ads while you're on the phone and being able to just play music and turn the screen off and have it continue playing.
That was what I did today with Cobra Kai, because I was like, hey, I'm going to be working and whatnot, but I could be listening to the episodes. So I kind of audiobook style revisited the first couple of episodes this morning.
Interesting.
And that was really nice. I like when it got to a part I really wanted to watch, is just turn the screen back on.
I've been watching a lot more, I guess, listening to a lot more like Westworld fan theory videos, like a lot of stuff I don't ever have the time to sit down and watch. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can throw on, a Westworld spoiler review in the car now. And it turns out, I don't have to worry about constantly refreshing my phone to make sure the screen stays on. I think they got me, guys. Like, I think YouTube did it, and it kind of infuriates me. But at the same time, my time is precious, and I don't need to watch ads. And if I can pay $12.99 a month to not watch ads, maybe that's just me, and it's it's vanity, but damn it, it feels good to be able to do that.
It's an interesting evolution of YouTube, because like YouTube is a video service, but there's so many, like, as podcasters, this is perfect for us, because we used to put our episodes up and there was no video part to it. It was just the audio with like a still frame or a few things here or there. Well, in this regard, that's perfect. That's perfect for it. The reason I don't like it is that we shouldn't have to pay for that. I mean, we shouldn't have to pay for the ability to turn our screen off.
It's something that it used to do. That's when something has a functionality that worked for free, that they then go out of their way to disable to try to get you to pay for it. That you want to make sure Randy never signs up for your service. That's what you do. Yeah. Before the end of this month, I am absolutely canceling YouTube Red.
Well, yeah, you have a few bones. You have a few bones to pick with them.
I have a lot of beefs with YouTube, and at least YouTube Red isn't as bad as the buy YouTube Live or whatever it is, because I don't remember what video. I was just watching a video earlier today where somebody was complaining about it, and they're like, they're taking the U out of YouTube. It's just TV now. It's just TV too.
Right.
And
that's very true.
As soon as the whole ad thing started, the whole adpocalypse, and which coincided coincidentally with like them launching YouTube Live, I was like, yeah, nope, not interested. That's not why I come to YouTube. That said, like, Cobra Kai, they produced the show, YouTube picked it up. It was produced by also, I don't remember what the usual type of TV show studios, but
it seemed like a Freeform show. I will say that, like something you would see on Freeform, or like maybe even a TV.
I'm so glad you mentioned this. What is Freeform? Because have you watched Cloak and Dagger yet? I just watched it last night.
It's on my DVR to watch probably tonight or tomorrow night.
Okay, what does it run on? What channel is this? What is Freeform?
Well, it was the old ABC Family.
Oh, that was ABC Family, because man,
Yep,
Cloak and
yep.
Dagger is not a family show.
Well, and that's the that's also the network that originally was going to get New Warriors, but I from what I understand, they're shopping that around to a bigger network now.
Yes,
yeah.
I just discovered Freeform. I watched the 2 first episodes of Cloak and Dagger last night on Freeform for free, which is awesome. But I didn't know what it was, so I was perplexed by that. But I don't think you guys have watched it, so we won't be able to get into it. But Cloak and
I've heard
Dagger,
good things about, though.
Man.
I've heard people said it was really good.
yeah, awesome, very good.
Did you guys like Runaways?
I haven't seen any Runaways.
I haven't watched it yet, but
Yeah, check it. I liked it. I canceled YouTube or Hulu for the time being because there's really nothing I want to watch on there anymore. Because I went with PlayStation View for my television streaming, which I love. I can't recommend it enough. It's fantastic. But I will resubscribe to Hulu for Runaways when season 2 starts.
Not to keep delaying our inevitable conversation, but at what point do you think people are going to hit saturation point with
it's got to be coming because there is a streaming service for everything.
Yeah,
DC will be launching one, and the Swamp Thing, live action Swamp Thing. They're gonna snag me with that. But that's almost kind of the problem. Is like there's several streaming services. I don't want to subscribe to them all, but they all have like one show I really want to watch.
Yeah,
that's how they get you.
Kind of like YouTube
I think
Red.
of it this way, though. Well, I think of it this way. I used to pay like $70 a month or so for DirecTV or Dish Network, or we have MediaCom here locally in Central Iowa. I don't know how far out they reach because they suck. I hate them. But I used to pay $70 a month, and so now, I mean, right now I'm paying $11.99 for Netflix, $9.99 for WWE Network. Luckily, I canceled my Amazon Prime because my girlfriend is back and taking classes again.
Oh, that's
so
way
she gets
cheaper.
a student.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. So she pays for that, but I have that, and obviously I have an HBO Go account right now just because of Westworld. And so to me, as long as I can drop them from time to time and try to keep a balance, I'm okay with. Like Netflix is the one that I'll always keep, but the other ones I'm going to rotate in and out depending on what shows I want to watch at what time.
Right. Yeah, and still cheaper than having cable if you do it right. If you're smart about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, because I always I was like, why can't we, with cable, why can't we pick and choose? I'll pay for an individual station if I get to choose this and that. And I guess you're right. That's kind of what all the streaming services
careful
are.
what you wish for.
Right. Yeah, and then some.
What would you guys pay for the Disney streaming service? I like to ask people this because I've went back and forth with some coworkers or some friends here. I'd be willing to pay upwards of $19.99 a month for a Disney streaming service if it had like
everything,
and especially if they buy Fox and all that goes through.
Oh my God, yeah,
that's well worth $20 a month to me.
Ooh,
like The Simpsons, I would hope. Like all of this amazing content they would own. I think it would be worth. I mean, and I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't pay $24.99 either. I mean, think about HBO used to be that much. There's this. It's all relative to me. And at the end of the day, I guess I don't know if this crosses a line I shouldn't, but I mean, like, for people who, I know plenty of people who can't afford all of them, so they kind of co-op and share. Which, hey, it's something that you can do it, and until they put a block on there and give a way to not let other people share. I know a lot of people who do that, just because they only like Daredevil and they don't want to watch anything else on Netflix. So hey, here's the password for a week.
I think a lot of services have kind of made peace with that, at least for now, because they know there's no way around it. I mean, there is a way around it.
They limit your devices, and as long as you keep it under the number of devices, then I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, and they seem. I mean, Netflix has kind of built their plans around that now, because I think the whatever base plan it is that I pay for, I think you can stream on 2 screens at once. But if you want to bump it up to like 4 screens, you can go up a tier. So that's at least shows that like they're good with it. They know people are going to do it, and they've figured out a way to monetize that aspect of it. So that seems smart to me.
I agree. And I mean, WWE Network, I can speak on that. They tried to stop people, but they've given up too. I mean, it's just the nature of it. You can't, with streaming, until you can find a way to lock something onto a strict IP address and say this is the only, and I think that would alienate a lot of people who are currently consuming that if they locked it to one device.
Well, yeah, even that, exactly. That locking it to one device is problematic because you got so many people who are like, I'm going to watch this on my phone, then I'm going to go home and start watching it on TV.
Yep.
If I'm on the computer, I'm going to watch it on the computer. That's 3 devices right there. That
tablets,
that should all be valid. It's still the same user. So yeah, that would be very problematic.
So before we jump in, speaking of paid content, we don't have a puppet enthusiast thing, but I did put a call out on Twitter for questions for Dustin, and we did get one.
Oh,
it's technically two. But both from the same person. At Wendog27 on the Twitters asks Dustin, what is your all-time favorite comic character, and what is your go-to comic series?
Ooh, okay. Oh man, I want to pick Deadpool, but like Deadpool is my favorite for a variety of weird reasons. So I want to kind of keep it to strictly like a real white meat babyface superhero, and I gotta go with Batman. In that regard, Batman's like the first comic character I really grasped onto when I was a kid. Batman, the animated series, obviously Kevin Conroy's voice will forever be Batman in my head. But he just represents a lot. Like he represents a superhero he's not perfect. Batman makes mistakes. Batman makes the wrong choice sometimes. Like, and he's fallible, I guess would be the best way to put it. So to me, that's great. Plus his superpower is money. So that really struck me a lot as a kid. And then my go-to series right now, I would have to say there's 2 because I don't think either of them are more prominent in my life than the other. I'm still plugging along at The Walking Dead. I absolutely enjoy the writing. I enjoy the story arcs there, and I'm sucked in. I can't wait to see what happens. And especially now with the news about Andrew Lincoln leaving the show, I'm curious what'll happen to the character Rick in the comic books then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all bets are off.
And then pretty much I mentioned Deadpool, all Deadpool. I try to read everything. I've read all the Daniel Way stuff and obviously the Liefeld stuff. And I loved Posehn and Duggan's run a couple of years ago, and Duggan obviously has continued working in some capacity on Deadpool books since, whether it's Despicable Deadpool or Mercs for Money, which Mercs for Money is one of my absolute favorite premises of all time. Oh God, like I could die. Like I joke a lot about if I really want to stay alive for Avengers 4. I need to stay alive to see Venom, all these things. I could probably die after a Deadpool Mercs for Money.
Oh my God.
Movie.
If they,
I just think
even if it was animated,
writes itself.
I would be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I need that. So if anybody with any pull down there in Florida, let me know.
So Randy,
if they can get that done.
To explain Mercs for Money, basically it's Deadpool's super team that he handpicked, and it's as eclectic as you might imagine. I think Deadpool 2 kind of well, I don't even know if Randy's seen Deadpool 2 yet.
I have.
Oh, you have? Okay. It's I mean, like his version of X-Force is kind of similar to Mercs for Money, but it's even more bizarre than that. Like there's a character that speaks only, he looks like Deadpool, but speaks only in Spanish. Slapstick. He snagged him out of the 90s and put him in there. Just a whole bunch of B team or yes.
It ends up being the antagonist, but that's just a ridiculous.
So many D-list characters, and he just pulls them in and makes them Mercs on his team.
And then Domino comes in and creates her own Domino's Mercs for Money to compete with Deadpool.
Perfect.
But yeah, those are my answers to that. There's a lot of other books I kind of try to keep up on. Current Guardians of the Galaxy stuff I've been really into, but I've gotten away from purchasing weekly or monthly issues. I pretty much stick to trade paperbacks now. Just try to complete full stories is kind of my goal.
Yeah,
now.
I don't think there was other. That was the only question we got, wasn't it? Was it?
Yes, that was
that a question.
Yes, it was. In-house news, real quick blip. And you can fill in my blanks on this.
Did you just call us Lip?
Blip.
Blip. Okay. I was like,
like the monkey that travels with Space Ghost.
Okay.
You can fill in the blanks for me on this, but there is now Grawlix merch. There's like a store, right?
Oh my God, you're right. You're right. There's Grawlix merch. I don't think by the time this goes up, I will probably have added some place on the website to at least link to it. Right now there isn't, but on TeePublic, it's what is it? TeePublic/user/EMC. It's under the podcast network quote unquote account, which is so far mostly Grawlix stuff.
You can get an EMC
I have
shirt,
control of,
right?
and an EMC shirt. Yep, exactly.
We should create some sort of like wrestling and comic book themed T-shirt and co-brand.
Oh, that's a good
We
idea.
need like a
That's a good
Crisis
idea.
on Infinite podcast style T-shirt.
Oh, love it. Love it. With like a Royal Rumble flair.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, there's several. Basically, right now we have like the logos. You can get the G logo without the text. You know, you've seen it, listener. It's the big G with the symbols. Jesse designed it. It's a
Did you know
fantastic
that was a
logo.
G? Because it is.
Yeah, it's the.
Are you talking about Fat Joe? Sorry, that was a deep cut.
I don't get it.
Big G, Fat Joe the rapper.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Dating myself, rapper from the late 90s.
Wow. Nope.
Pulling my collar right now.
That's awesome.
But you can get some Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope merch.
Can you?
No, I was just trying to think of ridiculous rappers to throw in there.
Hey, since we're pimping merch, Dustin, do you have a TeePublic store?
Yeah, it's tpublic.com/pro wrestling Iowa, I think, because I couldn't get the thing changed after we split off and rebranded. But yeah, you can get all sorts of cool stuff. I've wasted a ton of time creating different logos for myself, Darnell, Kevin, all the different shows we do, and some. Basically, I'm ripping off a lot of really cool stuff. My favorite one, though, and I think everybody should check this out if you're into wrestling t-shirts, go grab I guess, yeah, you're right. It's tpublic.com/user/pro wrestling Iowa. There's like this Mother Club shirt there that's a takeoff of the Bullet Club shirt. I know how original, but I'm really proud of it. I spent like 3 hours one night making it.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's great. You'll be all in
There
if you
you
get this
go.
shirt. But
Sweet. Too sweet.
I personally like the Metal Mouth shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, that is my legitimate X-ray.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure is not awesome for you at times, but it is an awesome image.
Well, it gave me a nickname because I tried to be the mouth of the Midwest, because like Jimmy Hart,
Sure.
mouth of the South. But there's a dude in Minneapolis who's a disc jockey, sports disc jockey, and he's called the mouth of the Midwest. So, all right, well, I have metal in my mouth, so now it's mine.
Exactly. Wonderful.
So that's how that happened.
Yeah, so merch, slap a pro wrestling mothership or a Grawlix on it.
Merch for money.
You know what I find weird though? Like I'll be putting designs up there, and although it all looks really cool, I'm like, I don't know that I would have chose to throw a Grawlix logo on a cell phone case or something like that. Like there's some unusual things on
A
there.
onesie. There's a baby out there wearing our logo.
Oh, the onesie. Yeah, exactly. Although I would have never thought about a Grawlix pillow. That thing looks awesome with the G logo.
Yeah.
Man, it looks
Or
awesome.
notebook even.
Notebook.
Like the notebook
Yeah.
would be cool.
You can get a Grawlix Cinematic Universe logo on a black t-shirt. Man, that looks sweet
Or you can get a sticker and slap it on anything.
on anything. Like
On anything.
like slap it on the end of this promo segment. Yep.
Nice.
So, I mean, if you had like a gi, you could put it on the back of that.
There you go. Yeah. Like
and
a
then
Cobra.
open your own dojo.
Yep. Pretty cool rattlesnake.
Yeah. Okay, so enough of this. Enough of this nonsense.
Burying the lead.
All right, so Jesse, you mentioned for like
Big time,
30 minutes.
Big time.
All right, Jesse, you had mentioned this show. Now, of course, I use YouTube. I've seen this pushed in my face for a long time, but I was like, I don't know. I didn't check it out because I was like, is it going to be like a little spoof type thing or something?
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that this is like a legitimate TV series.
Oh, yeah.
So you recommended this. So in preparations, it's been years since I've seen any Karate Kid anything.
Oh,
so I
man.
went and watched the first Karate Kid, which was great.
Yeah.
Like I I forgot how much I enjoyed that movie.
It really is a good movie. I mean, it's a product of its time, but I feel like it, generally speaking, holds up.
I think there's a few things like Mr. Miyagi like elevates that movie. That relationship between him and Daniel, of course, that's like the kind of the driving force of it. Elevates that movie. The other stuff's not bad, but it is very much more a product of its time. It's just kind of what you'd expect, but that relationship between Mr. Miyagi and Daniel is handled so well, and there's a lot of heart in it. And it's a little cheesy, but for the most part, that's really kind of what makes the movie.
It was the 80s. Everything was kind of cheesy.
Yeah, it is. And it has that, but it's still like, it's kind of, it feels genuine.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
then I watched
so
Cobra Kai.
in between here, there's kind of this gray area. Like all this time has passed where there's nothing Karate Kid related since basically the next Karate Kid, because we're not going to count the Jaden Smith movie, even though Will Smith is like connected to this thing. Did you notice that?
Yeah, exec producer.
Really?
So in that kind of wilderness era, we have like two really big references to the Karate Kid. One kind of calls back to an episode of Grawlix Nights that we did, and that was with Pete Mitchell, who did Sweep the Leg. Dustin,
yeah,
have you
I know.
seen
I
this
was thinking
video?
about that the whole time.
The Sweep the Leg video. Have you seen it, Dustin?
I don't think so. It's possible. I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet, and stuff goes in one eye or ear out the
It's
other. Sometimes.
basically-
Is this the video with the two girls and the?
Oh no.
Anyway,
two boys, one All Valley tournament. Wait, that's something else. No. Yeah, it's basically this premise. It's basically what happened to Johnny Lawrence after losing that tournament, because we don't see him ever again past the like cold open for Karate Kid 2. You don't see Johnny Lawrence again.
Right.
it's the actors, right? Like
it's all
him
the male
there.
actors that were surviving. So the only one that I'm aware of that isn't in it, obviously, is Pat Morita.
I was while watching this, I was like, who came up with that music video premise? Was it Pete? Because somebody owes Pete some money.
Well, I think Pete came up with the idea for the song. For obviously, he came up with the idea for the song, but then I think he reached out to William Zabka, and they created it together, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember for fact, but yeah.
You bring up William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, like that was what was. I wasn't that big of a Karate Kid fan. I do like the first movie, but after that, I may have seen the rest of them like one time. I've seen Karate Kid probably 5 times, but this is cool. This is the first time like something like this has happened for our generation, where we see these two iconic characters from a movie from our childhood. Now it's like they're our age. This is, like 34 years later. Johnny's a drunk.
Yeah.
Like he's a degenerate, and freaking Daniel is running a car dealership. Like to me, it's so there's like unintentional irony, or I guess maybe intentional comedy in all of that to me. Like it's these characters that we got to know as kids. Right. Now they're adults with adult issues. Very and I think William Zabka did such a good job in this show of portraying just an absolute bum for the most part, and I really enjoyed it. Like it was surprisingly
his
good.
reactions are so good. Like anytime that something like ironic or it's supposed to be poignant happens, his face falls are just like they're incredible. He chews the scenery with those.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me a lot, not in like a complete way. Like it's not like it's as overtly dirty or funny or intentionally funny as like Eastbound and Down, but it just had that. I had that feeling like I loved that show, and this had the charm that I loved in that show.
Randy, you mentioned the original movie, and like we mentioned that we kind of got to know these characters. But what's interesting, and correct me if you think I'm wrong about this, but basically in the original Karate Kid movie, we only surface get to know most of the characters. We really get to know Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. Those are the two that we really get character development from in that original movie. Everybody else is just kind of there to help back him up or to create the conflict or whatever. I mean, even Kreese, like, he's so one dimensional, and so is Johnny, really, for the most part. This is the opposite of that. Like, everybody gets development.
Yeah, I have two things to say on that. Rewatching the original movie, no, you're right. Most characters are pretty one-dimensional, and the conflict itself is pretty one-dimensional. One thing that really struck me is towards the end, during the final fight, the look on Johnny's face when Kreese is telling him to, like, you know, to target that leg, like, oh man, it's kind of amazing. They added, like, suddenly, like, you've got this you know, kind of crappy bully villain type kid, and just in that one look that he gives his sensei, like, it's like, wait, suddenly there's dimension to this character. Like, he's like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, he went from I'll decide when he's had enough to what?
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting, but that's kind of the extent of it in the movie for him. Now, earlier just today, kind of getting ready for this episode, I was watching a recent interview with Ralph Macchio, and he made the point of, like, the conflict and the characters and stuff in the old one. It was so black and white, you know. It's an older style. It's an older movie. God, I feel like Jasper. It's an older movie. I like my MCU story movies.
All right,
Jasper's
you and your
hate me if I keep
stories.
ripping on him.
You and your story movies.
No, but he's right. It's very one dimensional. It's black or white. There's no gray. And the TV show is super interesting because it's all gray. Ralph Macchio, me personally, through a lot of this first season, I didn't even like him. I was like, this guy's kind of a jerk. Yeah. And then it really plays with who you think is a good guy versus who you think is a bad guy. And it's like, there's not really any good or bad guys. It's just people. Sometimes they're crappy, sometimes they're decent. It's just all the gray area that the original movie, like, ignored. And so, yeah, no, totally.
I got to really quick say, too, one thing I thought of was, good going on, like, Ralph Macchio and William Zupka for getting this show and getting this thing rocking and rolling. Because the last time I saw Ralph Macchio was on Entourage, and he was playing a fictionalized version of himself that was an absolute washed up, like, D-list actor who got off by going to the Playboy Mansion, so I'm kind of, it's kind of cool to see Daniel San back in a prominent role, back where he belongs. And I mean, you hope that for both these guys, especially William Zabka, because I thought Johnny, that character was really three-dimensional for me. Like, I guess I just got him. He played it so well, and I want to see more of him. I hope this is a big opportunity for those two guys, because, it's two guys. I don't know. To me, there's something special. I'm nostalgic for the 80s, so I like to see guys from the 80s rise back up.
When this thing is so perfect for that, because it's like homage to it in every way. Like, the music is that way. Johnny feels like a man out of time. Like, yeah,
literally, yes. He doesn't.
Captain America gets references better than Johnny.
He doesn't know how to properly say a URL.
Yeah.
Most of the season, he's got an old tube style TV. It looks like he's watching 80s VHS.
Iron
tapes.
Eagle. He's watching Iron Eagle in the very beginning.
Yeah.
That turns his life around until Daniel just pops up in a commercial. I feel like it plays with so many of these tropes that we've seen from television through the 80s and 90s.
One thing I really liked about it, because it does do a lot of the things that could have possibly fallen flat. It does do a lot of the homage. There's a lot of callbacks and a lot of references to the original movie and some of and a few to the other movies. But one thing I really like is it does what you expect it to do. Daniel's going to get a student and this and that, and there's going to be the competition again. But it intentionally takes everything and flips it around. It reverses everything.
It's like Breaking Bad for every character.
Yeah.
Except for Johnny. Like, Johnny's slowly gaining a soul, and then it still goes horribly wrong for him.
Right. Well, and like Johnny's kid, and I can't think of his name.
Yep. Robbie.
Was his name Robbie? Yeah, like the fact that he ends up training with Daniel, and then the whole, him not being honest with Daniel about what was going on, and then Danny's daughter Samantha kind of being involved with Miguel and all that stuff. Just the way their lives were intertwining again, and it's something I will say, like growing up in small town Iowa, and I know you guys are in Nebraska. I'm sure you've seen the guys that never really left town and still talked about their high school stuff. And I guess I can relate to that because I've seen that. I know people like that, and I know how that can actually develop into a rivalry between their children. And so I think this was a story that I think people could really grasp onto.
Now, this statement seems a little grandiose for the show, but and I'm not sure if this is a pro or con, but aspects of how the plot lines with the characters played out it was very Shakespearean to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where it kind of sets up, it doesn't go total tragedy, but it kind of sets it up, and you've got the Romeo and Juliet aspect. I mean, it's not played on that heavily, but of the the warring families, and I appreciated that a lot. That's really, so the first half of this season, almost the first 2/3, I was enjoying it, but I wasn't like, I wasn't in love with it. I was like, okay. It's still, it doesn't really have the heart, I guess, of the original show. Not that I was the original movie, not that I was expecting it to, but the last third of the season,
that finale,
when everything started to come together, because they set up these characters, they're kind of jockeying the characters around, but then once everything starts falling into place towards the end of the season, that's when I was like, oh, I am hooked. I'm in it. Like, this is really good. And like you said, that finale, man, that last episode, I just wanted it to keep going. I loved it.
I want to jump on that very end.
You had the Emperor reveal. Yeah, you had the Emperor Palpatine show. I'm just kidding. That was great. I didn't expect it. I believed him.
Okay, so
I believed him. He was
okay.
He was
so we're
going.
going. If we're going to go there, so is he dead, or is he like is Johnny? Has he hit absolute rock bottom in his brain and he's hallucinating, or did he just say that Kreese is dead because he's dead to him, kind of thing? Or I mean, like, what does that mean? Is Kreese actually there? Will he play into season 2, or is he just like the darkest part of Johnny?
That's a good point. I had not considered that at all.
I'm going to guess he's there because they haven't. Not to say that the show couldn't, but they haven't taken that kind of angle.
Yeah.
I would say that when he's driving in the first episode, when Johnny's driving the car drunk, like just kind of the way he's reacting and remembering those memories, it seems like I could make the leap that he would hear voices and see things by the end of the season, especially after all this like rekindling of this thing from his childhood, the abuse.
He's tried so hard through the whole season and just gotten nowhere.
Like, I can see it.
Now, this is kind of metagaming, so to speak, but season 2 is happening, and what's that actor's name? What's Kreese's?
Oh, I don't know.
He's in it.
He
is.
I can picture.
There's not a lot confirmed for
Martin Cove.
There's not a lot confirmed for season 2, but he is confirmed for season 2. Obviously, I mean, it kind of seems like they would have to.
They got to Jessica Jones it.
but yeah, I know. I don't know that. I think he's actually
John Kreese. Yeah, I think so. Okay. I think he's there. But I got to be honest, I had not even considered anything but him being there until about 45 seconds ago.
True.
So
me too. Now there is a lot of gray to the characters, but is Ralph Macchio is Daniel the villain? I mean, I know there's not really a villain. That's the point of it. But
I think it's
he feels more like a villain than anybody.
I think that okay, so you've got those 2 parallel arcs between Johnny and Danny. And like with Johnny, you've got somebody who's hit rock bottom trying to find his way back to a place of power or prominence or whatever. He's slowly kind of building back up to everything he wanted, whether he actually wanted it or not. I think that's kind of the lesson that he's learning here is like at the end of the movie, well, it feels like a movie, but it's a series or a season. He got everything he wanted. At the beginning of the show, he had nothing. And at the end, he won, right? And so he got what he wanted, and it still wasn't really what he wanted. and
Which was so good.
and it's the opposite.
Which, does that make him Thanos?
Was that?
I said, does that kind of make Johnny Thanos?
Maybe. Well, his son's like dust in the wind, dude.
I love that he finally won, and it was just like the most disappointing thing to him because he realized like he had done. I love the turn with the kids, man. It was so good. You've got the good kid at the beginning of the series, and then they introduce Johnny's kid, who's obviously like, oh, that's the bad kid, and then just to flip him by the end. And I think the flipping the good kid, like, it's kind of sudden, but I buy it. It kind of worked.
Yeah.
Like that character arc. And it's kind of horrible because he was so likable. He's like almost the most likable character in the show.
Yeah.
And then to make him the Johnny,
It's very interesting. And the way that they did a really good job of making you really care about Miguel, I thought, throughout the majority of the early part of the season. And so, yeah, that was really disappointing. And it's to steal a wrestling term, it was a great heel turn at the end of the show. I mean,
I marked hard.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the cool thing. And I love shows like this, similar to Westworld. Westworld is occupying so much of my headspace right now. But there is no clear villain. It's all about the perspective you take. And to me, that's what makes really good television, when the viewing experience could be different from me to you, but we all still enjoy it. We all still get the same nostalgia out of it. But, I assume it's pretty hard for some people who are diehard Karate Kid fans to accept Daniel as the bad guy. Which, if there are a lot of Star Wars and Karate Kid crossover fans, I worry about the battle. But I kid, kind of. But that's, to me, what makes this show so cool, though, is it's, they give you a story, and it's up to you to decide who the heel or the baby face is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like I said, the whole point is there are no villains. It's all gray. It's just people being people. But of everybody, Daniel does the crappiest stuff. Like, he does some really kind of despicable things, like getting the rent jacked up on those people, and that just all the stuff he does, trying to get Cobra Kai shut down. He kind of goes real far.
Well, it's like the reverse of Johnny, where it's like he starts the series with everything he ever wanted, and it's just he's one bad day from cracking. He lived long enough to see himself become the villain.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes. I just got to throw this in there because I did have one note that I wanted to make sure to get in here. Mrs. Danielson can totally get it. I'll just say that if she wants to leave Daniel, there's plenty of room at the Smothers estate. No, I've never seen that actress before, and she stood out to me a lot. Hope that doesn't sound too misogynistic or anything, but I found myself just oh man, you're beautiful.
Yeah, Danielson has it all, man. Except for a strong father.
He is the villain
role model.
Well, and he clearly has taken a darker path. He's gotten what is it? I don't want to say. He's gotten lazy. He's gotten
complacent.
I can't remember. Complacent. Thank you. Yes. I think Johnny's going to win it all here before it's all.
It's interesting because he's
anyway,
I feel like Daniel's arc, everybody's kind of, what's the word? A character that you can relate to on some level, because Daniel's thing, he's got it all, but really what he wants is the one thing he doesn't necessarily have. And that is what he had with Mr. Miyagi. He had this mentor relationship. He had this strong bond with his teacher, and his daughter, he had that for a minute, but she's kind of moved on. She's kind of becoming her own person, and he's trying to connect with his son, but his son is totally into different things, than Daniel is. And it's kind of like Daniel trying to figure out where do I fit in my own family? I had this kind of surrogate family growing up, and I just want that for my own family. And he can't really find it.
I can't remember. Did Mr. Miyagi, does he pass away in any of the movies?
Not in the movies. No,
I don't think so.
Okay. So that's okay. 'Cause I couldn't remember that. And that's brought up a thought. I mean, could there potentially be more to what's jaded or turned Daniel? Because I think he has. It's sort of I think a complex for a guy where he has it all at a young age. Like he won the tournament, he did all this great stuff, had this great relationship, and now he's lost direction. So do you think there could be backstory that we might get
I hope so.
on Daniel?
Because that's what I'm loving.
Season?
I'm loving the
yeah.
backstory of Johnny too. Like all that he was a rich kid, but that doesn't mean that everything was okay. I love that.
And that's smart because, you know, obviously the movies followed Daniel. So we got at least more insight into who that character is. And the show makes the show does like to reference back to the movies quite a bit. Yeah. But, you know, with Johnny, we didn't get any of that. He was just this jerk. So it's super smart of him to do that. And yeah, I was enjoying the backstory they added in on him for him too.
And I even love the revisionist history stuff. Like Johnny will try to tell his version of the story and it's still pretty skewed. It's like, no, but did he really, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's not wrong, but it is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, those things
alternative
happen,
facts,
but not exactly the way he recalls them.
Yeah, alternative facts. Yeah.
That reminds not the alternative facts, the revision calling back to itself. I really enjoyed, and I don't know if you caught it, but since I just watched the first movie and then started watching the series, they got alternate angles and unused footage from the movies and used in the flashbacks, and I thought that was awesome. I was like, wow.
Oh, cool.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I kind of it seemed a little too like crisp and like it obviously had been produced, you know what I mean, like touched up and stuff, and so that was really cool to me. It seemed it was really well done and really well inserted into the show. It's not one of those situations where it felt like, say, like like Arrow when they throw in.
Oh God,
flashbacks.
yeah.
And this felt natural. This felt like it, you know, and it was great too for anybody maybe who hadn't seen the movies, because I know, you know, you think YouTube probably wanted to make sure this was accessible to everyone. And I think it did a good job. I don't think you would have needed to see any of the Karate Kid films before watching this to appreciate it.
But you'd get a lot more of the like Mr. Miyagi's Little Trees. Like there's callbacks to like Karate Kid 3 and stuff, which will help.
Bonsai.
Yeah. You get a free bonsai with every purchase.
Including some stuff. Yeah, no, there was some stuff where I was like, was that in any of the movies? And I don't think it was. I think it was like deleted scene stuff that they got access to that was shot during the first movie. So that's super cool.
Yeah, it's Connor was. I was kind of watching one of the episodes very cautiously with Connor this afternoon, trying to get finished up, and you know, I was trying to explain to him why this was really cool, and it's kind of is there anything else like this where we've had a movie from our childhood that then turns into a television show later on? Like I couldn't think of something, but I mean, maybe you guys.
They usually reboot it. You know, I mean, the closest thing is they'll do a sequel several years removed. You know, like Blade Runner was technically a sequel. The newest Blade Runner was technically a sequel, or Mad Max technically had a sequel. But no, like taking something in
Star Wars, I guess, obviously,
but not like really a series.
Fuller House.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
There is that.
I mention it as a joke, but it's true.
It is true.
I didn't watch any Fuller House.
Or didn't they do a Boy Meets World sequel or something?
Yep, Girl Meets World.
Roseanne.
I didn't watch that. Or Roseanne. I didn't watch that either. Nobody's watching that anymore. They do have ABC has a time slot open now, so I mean, we should really push to get the EMC network.
There we go. Yeah,
played on Tuesday nights. It'd be good entertainment replacement.
Wow! Wow! Yeah, let's do it. Okay,
sounds pretty freeform to me.
Bob Iger, get at me. I'm excited for the second season because I didn't know that I would be going in. You know, I thought, okay, I'm gonna, you know, I was excited to talk to you guys, or I don't know if we didn't do this, I probably still would not have watched it yet.
Right.
You know,
that's the thing I'm worried about.
When I downloaded YouTube Red to get the free month, like I did it about a week ago before we agreed to do this, and like I said earlier, I'm thinking about keeping it. Just to kind of see what else maybe they put out. Because I think with a hit like this and the way things have gone for them, I believe this opens up the door for more things like this. And I would love to support more, relaunches of movies. Like, I would love if they made a Parenthood 2, like a legitimate one with all the actors, but maybe did it for a TV series or anything, like Steve Martin with great grandkids now. Like, there's so many movies from the 80s that I'd like to see have this treatment. Like, if the actors were game and there's a story to tell, like, this was fun. Like, that's the thing, is there was so much nostalgia and callback to the 80s, to my childhood, that I had a smile on my face. Like, and I think that's what really makes this one. And it's going to be cool to see if they can find a way to continue that momentum.
And it's a good blend of a lot of things. Like, it's kind of a comedy, but it's not just a comedy. Like, it plays a lot of things for laughs, but I was reading a review and someone pointed it out and I thought it was really smart. Yeah. The one thing that they don't really play for laughs is martial arts. Like, anytime there's a fight, that feels pretty genuine. Like, oh no, we're throwing down kind of thing.
Oh, okay. That reminds me. I'm glad you said that. There's two things. One, Jesse,
yes,
martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
Is it that easy to train and learn and like,
that quickly?
Can you do some exercises and then suddenly, like, you just have the instinct and you can take on 6 dudes?
It depends on the kid, to be honest. Like, there's some kids that are just really naturally talented, naturally gifted, naturally flexible, and they can pick things up ridiculously fast. Like, you'll have a kid that walks into a dojo and you'll go, "Have you done this before?" And they're like, "No." And they just get it, So, I mean, yes and no, like the average student, no, they don't just walk in and become Miguel in the span of a couple of weeks or even a month, like he went from being like an asthmatic, couldn't do a handful of push-ups to, basically Johnny's protege in no time.
In wrestling, we call that the Jesus push.
Oh, the Jesus push. Okay. The Roman. So he got the full Roman Reigns.
Yeah, he got the big push.
He was the
push.
big dog.
A lot of money behind you. I will say this, like, the little bit Connor saw, like 5-10 minutes of it, we were driving in the car on the way home, and he said to me he wanted to take karate.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And he asked me if I ever did, and I did do Taekwondo when I was a kid, and I've actually thought a lot about it. Once I found a job or things that were back in place, I would like to learn, like, BJJ.
Oh yeah.
Just do something to keep my mind and my body kind of solid. But he asked me if I could do some of my Taekwondo stuff in the backyard, and I said, "No, buddy. Daddy doesn't want to tear his groin today."
Yeah, yeah, you really got to warm up as an adult.
I did not buy Daniel balancing on one hand.
Yeah, no, that was if there was a moment, I was like, okay, that's not even him.
He still looked a little thick in the midsection to pull that off. Not that somebody couldn't, but he does not look like he's in shape, which is appropriate for the character. He's an older guy. He's out of practice.
Yeah.
But I was
Johnny was really in shape. I thought he did
looked
really
good.
well.
Nice headband, Broham.
He's so, oh man, his character, like, they do well at humanizing him, but he's still such a character. Like, he's still so, I mean, those guys exist though, but he's just so stuck in a certain time period.
I could gush on this thing for another hour and a half, but what were some of your, like, favorite moments? Because I feel like as a body of work, we've really kind of touched on it, but, like, there's so many great moments. So what were a few of yours?
I'll go first. I like, because one thing really, really stands out when you ask that. It was I can't remember what episode it was. Maybe like second to last, I think, where Johnny and Daniel spend some time together. Yeah. And they seemingly kind of, like, clear the air, and, like, it seems like things are going to be good. And then Johnny finds out Daniel's training Robbie, and it gets real bad, fast after that. But I really enjoyed that, like, story mechanic there to, like, draw you in and think there's a lot of like just false finishes. I guess I'll just keep throwing wrestling terms out there, but there's a lot of moments in the last few episodes where you really thought, oh, this is going to work out for these characters, and then psych, nope, swerve. They're going to kill each other again. Like, and that's and it fits so well because these are those characters. These are very bullheaded, strong-willed, self-confident, overly at times individuals who are destined to fight forever. I think, and this
will never be over.
That's what. Yeah, like until the day one of them dies, Johnny is going to hate Daniel, and Daniel's going to hate Johnny, and Johnny will always strike first, strike hard, and have no mercy.
Well said.
I practiced that in the mirror before we got on today.
Randy, you want to follow that?
No.
Mostly what he said. I liked. I think there were things that I was like impressed about. There were aspects that went above and beyond, and then there were aspects that because I honestly wasn't super hopeful going into it, and there were some elements to it that I was like, okay, yeah, I could give or take, or what is it, take or leave, but it ended up winning me on board. And some of the things that I was surprised by was, for example, characters like his daughter. I actually got really on board with her. I thought, like, at first I was like, she's going to be, I don't know, because they set up Daniel's son as just this kind of spoiled rich kid. But his daughter was actually a pretty cool character, and I'm super excited to see what they do with her in season 2 because she looks like she's going to start fighting. How they handled a lot of the kid characters, with the exception of Miguel's, I don't know his name, but Miguel's friend, not
Hawk?
Lip or Hawk.
Oh,
no, not Hawk.
Not Hawk.
Hawk. I liked, like,
yeah.
If there's a villain, it's Hawk.
I guess just Hawk.
But no, the kid that I found the most the kid that I found the most insufferable was the other one that didn't stick around in the class.
Yeah,
is Eli?
Was it Eli?
Yeah,
Eli.
I think so.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
Couldn't stand that kid.
That comes to mind.
And I think he was.
Or is Eli?
I guess
Eli Lip?
Eli's Lip. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy. Yeah, what was his name?
You know who I'm saying, though.
Yeah,
who I'm talking about.
He strikes me as what was it, Mike on Stranger Things? That's who I kept thinking. It's like, this is the Mike character, but not really.
Yeah, no, and I get the purpose of him. It's just they pushed him till he was just kind of unbearable. I hated that kid. He was the worst character. And Louis.
Can I tell you guys that? Oh, can I tell you guys a wish that I have? I wish that in Stranger Things season 3, they would open up a portal that Mike walked into, and then Richie from It comes out of.
That would be awesome. Yes. Or even they just combine and turn into one super character.
Yes. Yeah, because I agree with you. Mike is kind of a wet blanket.
Yeah. He's designed to be, but ugh.
I'm obviously partial to Dustin, but anyways,
derailed
the conversation again.
Isn't everybody partial to Dustin?
Oh, he's so cool,
right?
I do have 2. I've gone out of my way to find 2 of the shirts that he has to have, just as an ironic thing. If people get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't.
Okay, that character's name is Dimitri. Eli is Lip.
Dimitri.
Oh, well, of course he sucks then. That's like the worst. Like that's every evil,
name,
like Eastern European bad guy in every movie ever was named Dimitri.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, he sucked. He was not. I didn't enjoy that character at all. No, yeah, I guess that's the main thing is the character work. I was really surprised at kind of how it handled the depth of some of them. Oh, one other thing I did want to ask about, though, and then I'm sorry, Jesse, I don't think you got to say your favorite moments.
Okay, yeah.
But there's a lot of commentary on, and it makes sense. It's maybe not so much commentary. It's more like how the character deals with it, but on the state of, I guess, political correctness, I guess, for
yeah, genderizing and
yeah, like how
don't you think
Johnny
you're doing a lot of
deals with
genderizing? Yeah.
What did you guys think of that? How did that strike you? I'm really conflicted about it.
It's weird. It's like I've had this conversation with a few friends. We had a conversation on the No Coast Nerd, I think, the first episode. I don't know if it ended up in the final cut because it just got a little convoluted by the end, and I wasn't sure it was really what we wanted to have. But it's come up. Stranger Things, though, the use of the F word to describe a homosexual. The dad yells that at him, and my brain says it's a period piece. It's set in the 80s, whatever. But then I know that no, it's not necessary. Yes, maybe it creates an era of authenticity, but I don't know if it's really worth it. Kind of the same way. Like, I get it. It's a character from the 80s. That's the concept. So this one, though, I'm a little more able to handle because, like you said earlier, it is kind of a man out of time.
Right.
Like Johnny still is stuck at the All Valley Karate Tournament when he got.
He
knocked
can't even
out.
get a new car, man.
Right. So it's weird. I think I accepted this a little bit more than I would have other things, just because it is that man at a time, and I can understand as a storytelling device because hopefully he redeems himself eventually and catches up. You know.
Yeah, I think you see that quite a bit throughout his arc where he's slowly starting to become a better person all around. I watched this with my wife and I agree. And I totally agree with what you said, Dustin. I feel that way too, that he kind of gets I don't want to say he gets a pass because it's not okay, but it's that man at a time thing. It's like, he doesn't know that it's not okay. Kind of thing. It's kind of like if you plunked somebody from World War II era into the modern day, well, like Captain America, and you know, some of the slurs and some of the slang of the era is just not appropriate to now.
Yeah.
But she did not react very well to the sexism, and I felt like it's both, though. Like it was simultaneously empowering and not empowering. I think one of the things she had a problem with was, Danielson's daughter needs a man to go ahead and stand up to the bullies in the middle of the lunchroom. And I was like, no, she didn't really need it. It just happened, you know, like she was ready to deal with it. You could see it. She was ready to deal with it on her own.
Oh yeah.
And he just happened to strike first, literally Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and she, by the end of the season, you know, she clearly is about to take a more physical role. And I think that's the key to the story, is that Daniel doesn't realize that his daughter's right in front of him as he's looking for that, you know, you're not your sensei, but your Padawan.
Yeah. Your student. Yeah.
Student. Thank you. Jeez, that's such an easy one to remember. You know, he's looking for a new student and she's right there in front of him. And it almost seems like she's going to go away from him, you know, and I don't know, you know, that'll be interesting to see. So I feel like that's that arc you get even with, like, in Stranger Things, if I call it back to Mike's sister, she starts out as kind of a stereotypical female character who throughout the season then realizes she can't just rest on her laurels. And I think that's something a lot of teenage girls do, is they use their looks, their self, you know, for what they need or how to advance. And I hope that doesn't sound sexist or anything, but it was realistic to me. And the girl, by the end of the season, she'd already kind of overcome that. So I was okay with it.
Okay. Sorry, Jesse, what were some of your favorite moments?
Okay. So I was jotting them down so I don't forget them. Okay. So one of my favorite moments is, that moment where I feel like it's really the first time that it's really kind of like a pinnacle moment for both Miguel and for Johnny, where like simultaneously Miguel's on a date at the old the putt place. You're like he's on the date and Johnny's going up against Daniel at the All Valley tournament board, you know, to try and get Cobra Kai reinstated. And he just nails it. Like they both just nail it. And I was like, yeah, that's a great moment. Like I really enjoyed that. He finally got his moment, type of thing.
Who's the man? I'm the man. Wait, you're the man? Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then that little celebration where like, it was like, all right, everything's gonna finally kind of work out for these two characters. Okay, no one's mentioned it, and it's ironic that it's me that's going to mention it, but I love the billboard gag.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Too funny. I mean, like, that strikes me as exactly the thing that a drunk Johnny would do.
Oh, yeah.
It's
that's
so
for sure.
what he would do. I mean, like, and it's about as passive aggressive as he gets, because he's, what's the best defense? More offense. I liked how they incorporated like 80s tropes, like they had the whole training montage thing complete with like an operatic, well, not operatic, but an instrumental synthy rock score type of thing.
You gotta have a montage.
Yes, exactly. I like that. I loved how they incorporated that. And then just the payoff at the end, the the duality of this whole show, but like the way it pays off in that finale where we've already talked about Kreese showing up at the Cobra Kai dojo and saying, you did it. We want, we're winning, you got everything you wanted on that end. And then on the other end of the spectrum, like I marked hard for seeing the Miyagi-Do dojo, like being back in the old estate with all the cars and this is where we're going to train. And I was like, oh man, that hit me in the member berries big time.
I remember.
Yeah. So those are my favorites. I mean, there's more, but I even like that. I even like that throwaway line of, I love this part, where he's like, okay, now we're going to put it all together. The wax on, wax off stuff.
That was kind of meta. That was,
Yeah.
I mean, it for as referential as it is, it doesn't necessarily break the fourth, it doesn't break the fourth wall that often, but that was super meta.
Yeah. It was a little wink. It was a little wink at the fourth wall.
But no, you're right. I liked it too. It was fun.
You guys want to know something shameful? I associate in my brain, because I saw it way more, wax on, wax off with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
Really?
Awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah, like it's just whenever I hear that, I immediately think of Michelangelo.
Sure, yeah.
Instead of Daniel-san and Mr. Miyagi. But it's like I know it's from that, but for whatever reason, my brain auto goes to TMNT 2, man. and I love that movie. Toka and Reza are cool in my book. I don't know why everybody doesn't like him.
No, they were right, man. They were right.
It's fun. I liked it. It's a little too rap.
Super Shredder is like simultaneously the coolest and most disappointing thing ever.
It's the most 90s thing you could do. That and have Vanilla Ice in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that it's Kevin Nash?
Yes. Oh yeah.
The Super Shredder. Yeah.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yes. Going from Vanilla Ice straight out to seeing that big roided up Super Shredder. I thought the Turtles were dead when I was a kid. I thought it was over for them. I said this guy, but that was like the coolest, the action figure. The Super Shredder action figure was one of like my prized possessions as a kid. And I remember I would do wrestling matches with my WWF ring, but I would also be like, my Turtles were in there, Thundercats, like it might be Lion-O versus Hulk Hogan in the main event. But I always had Super Shredder go over. He was like the biggest heel in my company. And
6'8",
he just
350 pounds, Oroko Sake.
He just straight murdered people every night. And I had a little flashlight. I had a flashlight that I used as a spotlight and stuff too. It was great.
That's awesome.
Wow. No, Super Shredder was the coolest. I was so angry that he was in it for like half a second that he kills himself. I was like, what is that crap? It was like the coolest thing that was ever put to film, and then it's gone.
And the ooze apparently can make your armor even cooler. Like his armor was suddenly better.
There's apparently a symbiote.
Yeah, there you go.
I've always said symbiote.
Yeah, me too. Oh, yeah, symbiote. Yeah, that's how I like
Marvel.
to say it.
Marvel trolled him, didn't I see? Like in a comic book late last month, trolled Sony about the pronunciation.
Perfect. I know. There were some other podcasts that I listened to that were like really just dying on that hill. They were just like, "This is how it's pronounced." I was like, "Oh, guys, push your glasses up." Obviously,
I got over it pretty fast. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard it, my head cocked to the side, like, nope. But
yeah.
it is what it is. We're getting a Venom movie. That's like that's the what I take away from it. I didn't care that she mispronounced symbiote. We're getting a Venom movie, and it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the thing I have to constantly remind myself, even though I'm reviewing some of these things. Is like, man, as a kid, if I would have told myself that there were going to be these things, I wouldn't have believed it. Like, there's going to be an Infinity Gauntlet movie? No way. We can't even get a decent Captain America movie or Punisher movie, for that matter.
I get that with Marvel Netflix series all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be watching that and be like, I would have never like assumed I'd be like Punisher, man. Watching that, I was like, oh my god! Like, as I'm like reacting in horror to the stuff happening,
we had Dolph Lundgren. That's who we had.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
No,
It's
really
good
is.
stuff.
Really is.
I'm a little. The superhero thing is going to crash eventually, and maybe by that time I'll be ready for it. But I'm not looking forward to it.
No, I'm not exhausted at all yet.
No,
Not one bit.
What kind of put that in my head? I was watching this YouTube video. It was super interesting about. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was something about like what happened to the heroes or why did the heroes change. But it was basically talking about movies like Logan and what other movies did they mention? I can't recall, but it's it's that kind of when the more optimistic hero like it turns, it's more when people start to favor more like the anti-hero type. And then they pointed to Unforgiven, which if you're gonna talk about Logan or even Old Man Logan, point to Unforgiven, but it brought up the point of like Unforgiven. Of course, that was way at the tail end of the Western's popularity, but was kind of the final nail in like going from the more optimistic, like glorified Western hero to then you
the
start
Lone
to
Ranger type.
Yeah, and then eventually it kind of turns to like the darker, the anti-hero and the more realistic depictions of like what these quote unquote heroes would be doing. And then eventually you get Unforgiven, where it's about a guy who used to be the one thing, ended up the other thing, tries to give it up, and it ends up in a bloody mess.
Right.
And just so the video kind of connected that kind of genre arc to all the superhero movie stuff. And I'm like, oh, does that mean, oh no, is it ending? Is it ending soon? Is it almost over?
I don't know. I think that the superheroes, though, if done well, and I think the MCU is doing it pretty smart. Like, I don't think they're perfect, but I think that they do have clever people writing. Like right now, we just came off of something super heavy in the Infinity War, and the next big movie is going to be the Ant-Man and Wasp. I think that's just a brilliant move. I mean, like, it's time for some levity. It's time for some fun.
Until the last 5 minutes of that movie.
Yeah.
I still think his daughter is going to disappear right in front of him. Something has to bring Scott into the fight.
Call.
Something has to bring Scott into the fight,
Yeah.
Good call.
It's going to be awful. Not awful. The movie's going to be, the actual moment. The moment is just going to feel awful to see happen, but that's my guess.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, and then Jane Van Dyne comes back and she disappears. Like,
right,
you spend the whole movie trying to go into the quantum verse to get Jane back. Like, oh, I finally know how to do it. I finally know how to bring her back. You get her back and she disappears too.
Well, there's a lot of people that think the quantum space, the quantum zone is going to play into the next Avengers because maybe that's where everybody is.
The soul, like that's how you access the soul gem or whatever.
Yeah. Which I don't know about. I see. I'm not sold on the idea that everybody's in the soul gem. I just think Gamora is.
Yeah. Oh, she is for sure.
But I guess I shouldn't go too spoiler heavy for the one person in the world who hasn't seen Infinity War.
At this point, I think if you haven't had it spoiled directly, the memes have done it.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Like, you can't escape those memes.
Well, I got to ask you guys then really quick. Who do you think anybody that perished in Infinity War will ever be back? Like, I guess anybody who died before the snap is my question. Because everybody post-snap is coming back. Do you think any of the characters that died before that are going to come back?
Korg. If he's dead at all. Korg is back. He's coming back.
I didn't see no Rocky corpse. Okay, so he's
perishable
fine.
Rocks. No perishable rocks.
him and Valkyrie chick they're gonna be back.
And Meek.
Yeah, they were covered in
And
paper.
Meek.
See, well,
Paper covers rock.
they do make a point to say that like there's like a quarter or half of the Asgardians that were on the ship were spared. So my guess, yeah, Valkyrie probably got on a escape pod and cruised out of there with a bunch of Asgardians.
No, yeah, they did make a point to say that, and I think that's probably why. But
I'm so happy that you brought Korg up. He was the best part of Ragnarok.
He's my favorite.
So good. I think, but with the exception of Gamora, I think everybody who died pre-snap, I think they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like who else died? It was basically Gamora and Loki and
Vision.
Oh, Vision, I don't.
See, I think
Yeah, I didn't-
I think
that
do
one's
away
tough.
with Vision.
Vision might.
I think Vision's a character you don't need in
Yeah,
that universe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree. But of all the characters, like, I mean, technically, he's a robot.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be the easiest to
it
bring back.
seems
I
like a
think.
strange. I mean, like it doesn't feel like he has closure if they end him right there.
Yeah, that's true.
But they could. They absolutely could.
Well, and Loki will be that'll suck. But I think the addition of like Valkyrie and Korg and Meek to the Thor universe, I think will cushion that blow pretty tremendously.
Are we going to get another Thor, do you think?
Oh yeah, I think we will.
Yeah.
Based
I
on
think
like
so.
the bonus features of Thor 3, it sounds like Hemsworth would be down.
Yeah, Hemsworth.
really?
I saw
I'm
an
not
interview with
getting-
him.
Yeah, I'm not getting the same vibe off of him as the other two.
No, like I saw an interview with him where he said he went into this one kind of burnt out, but Taiki Wakiti or however you pronounce his name, he said that what he did to freshen up the character really excited him, and he would gladly come back for another one. So yeah, I think Thor is going to make it out. I do think Cap and Tony are toast, which sucks. Like it's gonna be hard to like. I never cared about Captain America until Chris Evans played him. Like it's gonna be pretty rough to see either of those characters go. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Iron Man, Robert Downey's great in that. I'm not super attached to Captain America. Like, for the most part, the first Captain America was like, okay, it's okay. It wasn't a bad movie, but it kind of served a purpose. The other two were just like, they were good movies that happened to be Captain America movies. So like Captain America wasn't the draw for me. It was totally like, hey, these movies are good though. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This is a good spy movie. This has everyone in it, and it's Civil War.
can we talk about my favorite scene from Infinity War though? You bring up Captain America. I play it in my head all the time. This is my friend Tree. I am Groot. I am
Yes.
Steve Rogers. Like literally.
Yes, that's exactly how
That's pretty
Captain
good, yeah.
America would handle that. Yeah, he would totally just politely introduce himself.
I just love that nobody even like bats an eye at the fact. I mean, obviously there's aliens invading the planet, but come on, like nobody bats an eye that a walking tree and a raccoon just showed up with Thor. Like, wouldn't there?
Yeah,
You know what? You're right. Nobody even. It's not even played off as like, whoa, that's weird. It's just like, oh, they're here.
Yeah.
Here's these guys.
Yeah,
Look at
Thor
these
brought
guys.
friends. Like even Bucky literally no sells Rocket. Like, yeah, whatever. Like it's not for sale. And I remember sitting there going like, wait, this is a tree and a talking raccoon. You've seen nothing like this yet. Like,
right. You haven't
That's
even
so
met
funny.
Thor, have you? Has he even met Thor? Oh, I guess no,
Oh.
not at all.
Well, he might have seen him on like news or something. But
Sure.
I didn't even, that's so funny, Dustin. I didn't even think of that while watching it. I was just like, well, we all know these characters. Doesn't everybody know them? No,
Yeah.
you're right. They should be like, at least take a moment
Yeah,
to
just like
themselves.
it'd be
be like, okay,
so
this is
Thor
real.
is here with a pet and a tree. But the other really quick thing too,
I'll bet.
Rocket. I'm really excited for the next one to see like Rocket's story. He's the only Guardian left, aside from if you consider Nebula a Guardian. Like all of the rest of them are gone. And I saw some, preliminary concept art that got released onto the internet this week. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's like all the core Avengers and Rocket with them. And it's just so awesome. And Hulk is in like armor, like he's wearing like a suit. I'm just like, holy crap. Like if Hulk, I mean, because obviously Hulk's got to come back and fight Thanos. I think everybody's forgetting. I think Hulk's going to end up with the gauntlet on. Like,
That would be awesome. I can't imagine what that would be.
That seems like a terrible idea, though.
well, but I think
I want to
Seems like
see
such
it.
a bad
I
idea.
think this like story though, and if you recall a few months ago, there was an interview with I want to say Feige, where he said that basically Ragnarok was the beginning of a 3-movie story arc for Banner and Hulk. And I think like if you watch Ragnarok, he's speaking, he's in control of his as in control of his temper as Hulk can be. And the idea that Hulk won't come out because he's scared of Thanos, I think, is going to be the catalyst for Banner and the Hulk to get on the same page and become that Hulk that, you know, we saw in the I guess I haven't read a lot of Hulk lately, but I know when I was a kid, he would be sitting at a bar having a drink as Hulk. He was a part of the world. And I think that's got to be the natural progression for Hulk. I think it would be amazing.
It's either that or World War Hulk, where he
Right.
just like gets his revenge on everyone.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's, to me, those are some interesting things. I'm so excited. I don't think I've ever been this excited about a movie.
It's an exciting time.
Infinity War was pretty awesome. It's definitely, I think, one of the, for me, I think Thor Ragnarok and Infinity War kind of my favorite of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, right now for sure they are. I mean, and
Maybe not
I
necessarily
like a lot
the
of them.
best, but they're my favorite
Yeah,
of them.
I could watch Ragnarok over and over. Just, I mean, there's so much there. So much there.
There is.
I just
Jeff
read.
Goldblum.
There's Sparkles.
Yeah. Hey, Sparkles. I love that.
God.
Goldblum. I finally picked up Ragnarok on Blu-ray, and it has the Team Daryl extra. Which
Oh,
I just
nice.
love
Yes,
that.
yeah.
I love that stuff. The original Team Thor vignette was amazing. I just read, guys, that Marvel's TV head, I'm guessing Jeff Loeb, hinted that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. may prepare introduction of the Fantastic Four, which
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'd be way into that.
I need to get caught up because I haven't watched the current season.
It's
of
really good.
Agents. Yeah, I really liked
Really
the season before this last one. So
Oh, with the writer, yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
and, you know, and I talked to a lot of people who just never gave it a shot because, yeah, the first season, the first half of it is a struggle. But once Winter Soldier happens, once Hydra is exposed, like the show got really good,
yeah,
really fast, and super full of Easter egg. Like if you're a heavy, sweaty comic nerd, like there is so much in that show. I mean, it's
well,
I love it.
they were basically doing the whole secret empire,
Yeah.
Hydra controls the world thing at the same time that the comics were doing it. And I argued this before. I don't know if I did it on the show or not, but I argue that they did it better. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did it better than the comics did.
Yeah, with Ada as Madam Hydra.
Yes.
Just all the real there's like if you want a comic property that gets really deep, like some deep cuts, like for characters they brought into it. I mean, right now, you know, I guess I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen it, but like there's a really interesting character twist, and the character becomes somebody else, and you're just like, oh, nice.
Oh.
And I will say too that the new season calls back to previous seasons so well that like, because I know they filmed it as if it was the series finale, but it's been picked back up for a 10 episode season 6, which will air in the summer of 2019. So we've got a long ways to go, a whole year. But it would have served, I think, greatly as a series finale too. So they tie up pretty much every loose end that the show has had over those 5 seasons, and leave a pretty blank slate with a few little things to branch off of if they were to get another season. So next season might be a good time for people to just jump in, because I don't know that you'll need to know a whole lot other than a few little things that I'm sure they'll give you some backstory on. But it's gotten really, really good.
Agents is on Netflix right now, I think. I'm going to have to
Is
start
it
watching
updated? Like all the new
Yeah.
episodes are on it?
I believe
I'm
it
not
is.
sure how recent it is, but I dropped off in season 1, so I've got some catching up to do anyway.
Yeah, I would say if you jump back in around like episode 12 of season 1, I would say is when it gets better. And then, yeah, the Hydra thing completely changed the course of the show. And I think that's what a lot of people miss, is that I think when they were writing that first season, they knew that everything they were doing until Winter Soldier came out was pretty much for naught. And so they just went with like kind of a freak of the week type formula. So it was like a procedural alien threat superpower show. So, yeah, but then it becomes so much more after that. And we've had some crazy like space time travel, you know, portals opening up. It's been crazy. Like
I'm glad that they've
super
steered
sweaty.
away from the Inhuman thing, because I think that was slowly that. I think that's where I was kind of falling off. Was like, oh, everything Inhuman. This is basically the Inhuman show. Although sounds like it's better than the Inhuman show was.
I'm just gonna say I'm such a Marvel Cinematic Universe mark that I liked Inhumans, and I'm so bummed that it's not getting a second season, because I guess it was the worst Marvel thing they've done yet, I think. But
it was the worst Avenger. Sorry,
but it still told a story that I'm like, shoot, I wish I could. I'm kind of bummed I don't get any more of that. But yeah, I mean, when they cut Medusa's hair off just so they don't have to pay CGI to have Medusa's hair be Medusa's hair, was kind of a bummer.
Oh yeah, like what's the point after that?
But Lockjaw was awesome. Like I love
there you
Lockjaw.
go.
So no, I hope that, I don't know. Maybe when the Disney streaming service comes on, I give somebody get Joe Buck out of there and give somebody a second shot at Inhumans, like a season 2. I think there's still enough there that they could have some fun with it. Probably won't happen. But do you see fans are trying to get Agent Carter renewed in place of Roseanne?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
No,
I liked Agent Carter.
There's a campaign for that right now. Yeah. Yeah, it was okay. I liked the first season more than the second.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Well, they basically were trying to tie it too much into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too. I don't know what they were doing with that. First season felt like its own thing, and second season felt like they were trying to make it part of a bigger universe, and didn't work as well.
When's Legion coming back? I know it's
already
season 2.
Did
already
season
started,
2 just
yeah.
end? Or is it
over?
I don't know. It's only like 10 episodes, I think, but I don't know. I'm behind.
Okay.
I haven't caught up to finished season 1 yet.
I don't have whatever FX or whatever, so I catch it later. But
yeah.
I'm
still working through Preacher.
Yeah, that's on my list. Did either of you watch that one with Chris Maloney on Sci-Fi? It's based off a graphic novel about a little girl's imaginary friend that goes with this deadbeat cop to try to save her from being abducted.
What?
No.
Okay, hold on. I got to look it up because I can't remember the name at all. But I watched it. It was pretty fun. Happy is what it was. Patton Oswalt's the voice of the unicorn, the little animated unicorn that follows drunken Chris Maloney around New York while he pees on himself and gets hammered and fights crime.
I remember seeing the promos for it and thinking that it looked interesting, and then it just kind of disappeared. Like all the promos for it just seemed to disappear.
Yeah, I dug it. I don't know that it'll get a second season because nothing ever seems to go my way with TV.
Well, and that's the thing I worry about. I mean, like bringing it all the way back to Cobra Kai. That's the one thing I worry about. They're attaching Cobra Kai to this YouTube Red thing, which feels to me like an untested commodity or an untested, I don't know, service. And I need it to continue. I might continue paying for YouTube Red just because I want Cobra Kai. I want more.
I feel like that's a show that some other network or like Amazon Prime or somebody would pick up after the numbers after the numbers it got, because what was it like? It blew away like previous download numbers for like first episodes on a streaming service, I believe.
Well, that
there's
makes me
one
feel
more.
better.
Sorry, jumping around. There's one more episode. Actually, the last episode of season 2 of Legion will probably be out by the time this episode goes up. Were you guys talking about Cobra Kai again?
We found our way back.
Just for a second, yeah.
Okay. The first episode had like over 40 million plays or something, which is
cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Of Cobra Kai, yeah.
Well, yeah, because the first two are
gave
free.
It to for free. Yeah, I was going to say. But either way, still, 40 million people went to YouTube to watch a show about the Karate Kid.
That is pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, guys, that feels like an episode.
It does feel like an episode.
Feels good.
Feels like we've come home back to Miyagi-Do karate.
Where's my bonsai tree? I had a bonsai tree once, and I did not do that thing very well. I kind of want to buy another one after watching that show, though.
I killed a palm tree once, so I'm not going to even mess around with a bonsai tree.
You just got to get a real American cactus from Cole Auto.
Be a patriot.
Be a patriot. Yeah, in these dry times. I love that whole interchange, even down to the really stiff, awful outside crescent kick that he uses to kick the boba tea.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you were going to do that in slacks, that's what it'd look like. Without ripping your pants, that's what it'd look like.
I have to buy stretchy pants now because my butt's getting big enough that I rip jeans and friggin' khakis. So I have to get the the stretchy fabric jeans and khakis now.
That's your J-Lo booty right there.
Shake what my mama gave me.
Dustin from the block.
I really want to sing the rest of it, but I'm not.
All right. Hey, Dustin, if people enjoyed listening to you on this episode, where can they hear you more?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Smohawk. Same on Instagram. Make sure you follow my main network at PW Mothership on Twitter and Instagram, and the Pro Wrestling Mothership on Facebook. And then, hit tpublic.com/users/Pro Wrestling Iowa. Do me a favor, pick up a t-shirt if you think one of them are cool. And ProWrestlingMothership.com. That'd be good to get in there. I think you should probably check that out. And I don't want to be a bummer, but today we're recording this on the June 8th, and I just Anthony Bourdain was a huge influence for me, just as an individual or somebody I long to model my life after him. I enjoy food so much. I enjoyed his show. I enjoyed him as a human being. And so I'm really sad today that we lost him. But I think it just is a great reminder that if you are feeling anyway depressed at all, please don't hesitate to talk to somebody, reach out to a loved one, a coworker, a medical professional. Don't be afraid to get help if you need it. Life is worth living. To see how it all comes to a conclusion, I think. And that's, unfortunately, Anthony's gone. But I do hope that the way he lived his life kind of will live on, and people can kind of still take inspiration from him, because regardless of his last days, he was still an incredible human being who brought a lot of cool stuff to the world and put a lot of focus on people and places that didn't get that same focus. So that's my sappy rant, but I just had to get that in because today's the day. It's been bumming me all morning or all day since I woke up this morning and saw it. So, but just, if we can get anything from this, and Kate Spade too, I don't know a whole lot about that, but obviously another prominent, famous, influential person who also unfortunately took her own life. We got to normalize the idea of talking to people about it and getting help. Because when you're that successful and you're that famous and you still don't reach out to get the help because of the stigma, there's something wrong with the world. So that's my 2 cents. I got to get that in there because it's important to me. So absolutely get some help, get some phone numbers, and take care of yourself and be a part of this world, because it's going to get better.
Agreed. And being from the heartland, I think we've all, the three of us, have kind of grown up in a culture of this idea that, well, you just suck it up, buttercup. And that's something that needs to disappear, that mentality. We need to understand that people are going to have problems, and there are resources, and there are people, and there are ways that you can get the help that you need. And it doesn't change who you are as a person. You are you, and you have good days and you have bad days, and we need to be able to recognize it. We need to start, we need to start fielding these things and just do a better job in general of understanding each other, I guess.
And I pulled it up here really quick. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255. So it's not a bad number to have in your phone for anybody. If you want to give it to a friend or if you need to reach out yourself, it's a great resource, and they'll help you and help you get the help you need. So
I believe the episode, me and Dustin just recorded an interview. And I believe that episode will probably go up either the same day or just before this episode goes up. So if you haven't checked it out, go to electronicmediacollective.com. I'll have a link in the show notes to the episode specifically. And it's basically me and Dustin chat, and I kind of caught up with all of his recent Pro Wrestling Mothership and Capital Wrestling podcast, all of his recent podcasts happening. So
it's been a big year for Dustin.
Check that out.
It's getting wild and wacky, that's for sure. Wild and wacky. So I'm actually looking. So August 3rd, there's a Revolver show in Dayton, Ohio, and then a buddy of mine, his uncle runs a USA Championship Wrestling out of Jackson, Tennessee, and the main event for that show is Jerry the King Lawler versus James Ellsworth. And so I'm thinking about waking up Friday morning, making the 10-hour drive, like literally waking up at like 3 a.m., making the 10. Excuse me, I'm getting the clump just thinking about it. The 10-hour drive, all the way to Dayton, go to that show, and then wake up early and take the 6-hour drive to Jackson, and then go to that show, and then wake up Sunday and make the 9-hour drive from Jackson back to Des Moines. I'm thinking about it. Man. And that will be officially, I've paid dues then, and I've made towns. So that's
You're driving more than some of the wrestlers do now.
Oh gosh, I know guys who put in, and that's the thing. I completely off topic, but that's the thing. It always amazes me how much people don't consider, especially independent wrestlers, because if you're WWE, you might make enough to catch a flight here and there, but obviously they still have to drive. They're not catching a flight from, say they run Omaha one night, Des Moines the next. They're driving like right after the show, for straight through. Yeah. But some of these independent guys, like a guy like Kurt Stallion, I'm pretty close friends with. I know weekends where he's put 30 plus hours into the car on a weekend.
Imagine that.
Just
my
to
back
make
locks up just doing like a 7-hour trip. So
doing
that and then having to wrestle, I can't imagine it.
Oh yeah, it's insane. It takes a very special breed of individual to be able to do that for a living. Like I know I couldn't travel like that.
I think that's it. I've been Randy.
I've been Jesse.
Oh,
whoa, sorry.
Both of us are awesome. We're Dustin and Jesse.
Yeah.
I like that that's how we should introduce Jesse every time. We'll just use that clip of Dustin, even if he's not on it. You guys will be one person now.
Essentially, Mike and Richie. This is fantastic. Everything's coming full circle tonight.
Yes.
All right, listener, take it easy, everybody. I don't know how to sign off at Bytes. We don't have like a...
We don't have
anything.
We don't.
Sweep the Grawlix. After Dustin, you had your spiel, and then Jesse added to it, and I was like, "What if?" Then I just come back and just say the worst possible thing I could think of.
You officially became the Danielson of this whole episode.
Yeah. You lived long enough to become the villain.
You know what? Life is worth living. Unless you're Johnny, then you need to.
Cobra Kai needs to die.
Cobra Kai. Oh,
whoops! It was going so well.
And that's the moment that all three of us landed our first class ticket to hell.
Right.